In this video, I want to talk about filters, presets, and LUTs. Some of the things you should be thinking about before using them. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to another episode on visual language and photography with me, Gabriel Leung, artist, photographer, and educator passionate about the art of photography and sharing and empowering all photo and video creators like you out there to grow through the understanding of art and design principles and not solely depending on gears and techniques. So thanks for tuning in and spending time to hang out. We're going to have a very fruitful, productive time learning today about filters, presets, and LUTs. What do they actually do to your audience? I create a lot of free contents like the videos on this channel, but occasionally I do want to pump out some more exclusive free materials, such as things that would help you to grow in terms of how to create a photograph, how to manipulate them in post-production, and how to organize your portfolio, so to speak. So these will eventually come out in the future. If you want to keep yourself in the loop, you can sign up for the Light Party mailing list. I'll leave the links down below. It will be exclusive contents for those who have signed up. If Photoshop is one of the greatest inventions in photographic history, digital filters would probably be right after that on that lineup. And that is because the ease of slapping on a filter with the effects and sharing your stories and your feeds are so easy and so quick nowadays. We can even preview how that looks like before snapping a photo with your phone. And who knows, what's gonna change our habit of photography in the next decade or so? You don't have to be a fashion guru to enjoy dressing up fashionably, but it would benefit you a little bit more if you do understand how your height, your sizing, and your personality would reflect through your fashion. The same way, understanding what filters would dress up your photos and reflect your feelings just a little better. So if you are using filters on a daily basis and haven't been really thinking about these things, keep watching while we take a look at what they do to your audience. Fundamentally, we're always taught to expose correctly, to retain some of the shadow details and the highlight details, capture most of the information and not to clip anything. We're also taught to correct your colors correctly with your white balance so that your image is not too warm or too cool and it looks truer to how you experience the scene right in front of you. If an image is correctly and perfectly exposed and color balanced, it might look perfectly clean, crisp, but probably a little too clinical and lacks expression or mood. So this is where filter comes in. Essentially, filters are a set of adjustments that you've done, and they include exposures, they include colors, in the highlight, in the shadows. They also include treatments of an image, such as textures and grains, etc. Now, we do all these in our manipulation process in your imaging softwares, and you can go through one by one slowly, fiddling with this and that. The reason why we use and turn them into presets, turn them into LUTs, are because it saves time. So we don't have to repeatedly do the same process, or consistently we can apply to a batch amount of photos. Traditionally, you can apply a glass filter in front of your lens. You can mix different proportion of chemicals to develop your film and develop your photos. You can adjust the timing on your enlarger and all kinds of things you can use in the darkroom. Nowadays, all these adjustments can be done in our editing software. So a preset basically means in your editing software, such as Lightroom or Capture One, that it recalls a set of settings and adjustments that you have previously done with one click of a button. A LUT, short for lookup table, basically means the same thing in a video editing software such as Final Cut, Premiere, or DaVinci Resolve. So here are some of the key factors from an artistic standpoint that I want you to know before using filters, presets, or LUT. Tip number 1, point of focus. With the vast amount of options we have nowadays when talking about slapping a filter on a photograph, it is important to step back and ask yourself, what is the focus of your image? And by focus, I'm not talking about the area that is sharp. I'm talking about your main subject. What is your main subject? And what could be the main message that you are trying to communicate? By message, it doesn't have to be tangible, like something you're really trying to say. It could be an expression, a feeling that you want to communicate or you want to share so that somebody might resonate with that same feeling when they see a certain scene in your photograph. Is it the person in the middle, that house with the red roof, the boat at a distance, or the entire landscape in totality that you are trying to relive that moment in all? And by asking yourself these set of questions, you would find that some filters will work better with your point of focus and what you're trying to communicate, and some filters not so much, or clearly distracting from what you're trying to say. So is the darkness or the brightness helping your subject? Is the warmth or the coolness carrying the mood over? Or perhaps the contrast, is it doing its job in provoking a certain sense in that person or that room or that particular subject that you shot? So tip number 2 is about concealing. So in contrast with the first tip, a way of thinking in opposition to enhancing the point of focus is by concealing the things that are not the focus. So this could be anything around your main subject. This could be details in the textures, unwanted information, areas that are too bright that attracts the attention of the eye. So anything that distracts your viewer from really looking at your main subject. But filters doesn't really work the same way, such as aperture or using composition to help with removing things that are distracting, such as using out of focus areas or cropping things off. I think we can think about filters as in, is it aligned with your original intention? Is it speaking the same language with what you're trying to say through the image? So take contrast, for example. Does the contrast applied conceals enough of the shadow details so that we are not distracted by them? Because you can control the contrast, and the more you add contrast to an image, the less detail you will see. But obviously, if you go overboard, the image falls apart. How much contrast is enough to help with what you're trying to say? So how much you're revealing in considering how much you're concealing. Does the filter make the saturation too rich that it kills the delicate, the fragile subject that is in the photograph? Because it's all about the lightness, it's all about the muted elegance, it's all about the fine, small detail in the highlight area between the brightest point and the midtone. Those are the things that you really have to consider. Are they aligned and speaking the same language? Tip number 3, nostalgia. So some of the most popular presets, filters, and LUTs out there circles around the theme of nostalgia, a longing for the past. Not exactly about the past, but that longing of the past, that feeling, that mood, that desire to revisit the memory of that. For example, the film look circling around Kodak films, Actachrome, Fujifilm, Ilford black and white. All these create a certain cinematic look on traditional cameras and traditional cinemas. These profiles really emphasize on the black point being slightly faded, so it's not completely black. The color has a slight shifts, either on the warmer side for a lot of Kodak films or slightly on the cooler side for Fuji, really playing a little bit with the color spectrum just by a little shift, also adding a little bit of treatment on the textures such as grain structures. These are really fun to play around. So all in the attempt to reproduce a sense of nostalgia. So this has become quite a sought after look or appearance because the digital camera is created to emphasize on accuracy, well balanced, well exposed, and true to life kind of image. But from that perspective, these filters and presets are actually introducing imperfection into the photograph. And for that same reason, this is why we're so drawn to these images, because they speak and resonate with our heart and memory, not the super accurately exposed image. So if you're still here, you're probably finding value in this video. Say hello down in the comments, like, share, consider subscribing. Don't forget the bell so that you will see all the future videos that comes out. So here's the +1 tip. So I don't think there is any right or wrong way of using filters if you consider all the points that I just mentioned. A good rule of thumb is a little cliche, but less is more. Don't overkill it. Just knowing this is enough, and just beware of it. So here's a take-home tip. A little bit of a challenge for a lot of you, I think, is learning the RGB color wheel. So a really good advantage to put yourself in a slightly more and better position is to really understand how to use the RGB color wheel. Really get it down and knowing the opposite colors of red is cyan, green is magenta, blue is yellow. And if you want to decrease or reduce certain colors, you add the opposite color to counterbalance it, especially through using curve so that you can actually adjust color value within a particular tone in the highlight or the shadow. And when you know how to control all these are the things that makes up a filter or a preset or a LUT. Knowing that actually goes a long way. So quick recap on the 3 tips when approaching filters, presets, or LUTs are point of focus, concealing, and nostalgia. So some things are best learned when you can actually try it out right away. So for that reason, I have created a small professional starter pack of Lightroom presets, free and downloadable, quick and easy, just a click of a button. So all you have to do is click on the link down below in the description, and it will take you to a page to download the Lightroom presets, which our studio use on a day-to-day basis, from shooting products, shooting food, hospitality, fashion, portraits, all kind of commercial projects, post-production process. Just a quick tip though, adjust your exposures and white balance first before applying the presets, because they mainly just manipulate all the other areas. Have fun, enjoy with it, but it's not gonna be there forever, so grab it now. So honestly, what is your takeaway from this video? How often do you use filters? Do you consider not to use filters at all? Or have you developed a habit to really slapping on a filter on every single photograph? Let me know down in the comments and we can start a chat. So there is one concept that highly affects the expression of a subject or the whole image that filters really rely on, and that is the manipulation of contrast. I've done this one video that really breaks down and digs deep into this commonly known concept, but hopefully would inspire you. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.